All right. So say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Whoops. And turn down my phone. So, so today we're going to try to talk about the Kayballion, but that might not happen, even though that's what the title is. But um, let's talk about the astral traveling.
Okay.
So, me, I've still not achieved it, but let's talk about what you were saying before we started all this.
Okay. Um. So
So,
I hold on. I'm gonna go sit down for a second. I don't know what cookies I'm gonna make yet. Um. So I was watching this thing last night because with me, uh, I I I was in a place a couple months ago where it was life was really cool, and I was able to kind of do the things I wanted to do. Spiritually and just meant and everything just kind of grow, and then life happened, and I stopped doing it. So talking to you guys again, I have looked around and decided that I need to get back to it. So I was watching some stuff last night, but as I was laying there and working to achieve what I wanted to, I felt fear, and I can't figure out why, because I'm the first one we did. Me, I'm trying not to be afraid. So I was wondering what Lev thought, or you thought, or in anything that we've done, astral travel, astral projection, which I learned this really cool thing, that there was a difference, that one, you take your astral body with you, and one, it's just you mentally go all around the world. So those were just a couple of things that so I think what happened was my fear kicked in because my mind was reeling over too much information at the time. That's what I think. But I wanted to know what you guys thought. And I know, Michael, you haven't hit it all the way going there yet, but I just want to, maybe there's some answers before you get the questions. Does that make sense?
All around the world at the same time, did you say?
What?
Did you say all around the world at the same time?
I
Or
might have.
just all the world? You went all around the world.
Well, I didn't, but what I was watching, this guy said that astral travel is when you go wherever, whatever, as far as you can go. Astral projection is when you take your astral body with you. That's what I watched a video, but again, I didn't do any research, so it might not be the truth. However, I think that's why I was kind of afraid to do it last night, because my mind was reeling on different things. So anyway.
One thing I thought about is like doing the sun chakra exercise where you turn your chakras into that sun and expand and burn all the negative energy away, and then putting your shields up as well.
Yeah.
And so then you've got like that clear space, nothing can enter it and stuff like that, and then you can freely travel without any interference from entities and all those kind of things.
See,
It's
and
just
that's
like,
what I know. I just was last night, fear hit me, and that's why I think I couldn't get up and go, because I was close. I was right at the threshold, but I think the fear stopped me from doing all the things I know. Like, it just
I think that's what
stopped me.
stops me too.
I think so. That's why I thought that that was really kind of a cool thing. When I woke up this morning, I was like, well, I didn't go anywhere. What the fuck? Sorry.
It's okay.
I forgot. Forgot it was
All the
Friday.
kids are in school.
Oh, okay, cool. Right on.
But
Anyway,
yeah, I
I
think fear stops me
I think
because I get really freaked out about I still have things to do
yeah.
here.
Well, we're not
You know
going
what I
anywhere,
mean?
but the fear of I think mine was more the fear of I don't know. More questions came in after watching that than I had before. So before I was more free because I was not questioning things. Does that make sense at all?
Hmm.
Okay. Because I want to question all the time. So, like, how do you break through that fear, knowing what? Because I agree with you 100%. You clear it. You know positive energies all around you, that's where I know I'm going positive. But and then
Mm-hmm.
my broom and all my stuff, and my defenses are up when I go, but then I didn't go. So why?
Maybe it is just that fear, like that fear is holding you back in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, it's that conscious will in it to expand in that kind of way, to be mentally free, spiritually free. Like I say, like you do your sun chakras, you do them shield things and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then I kind of feel I don't know, like I'm not afraid at that point. I think there's the only thing is fear of actually doing it. So like once you feel like you've come out of your body and that's kind of scary and stuff.
Right.
Because then it's like you're getting cognitive dissonance and stuff like that, and that's like, whoa, I'm actually out of my body or whatever and stuff like that. But whenever I've experienced it in the past, it's well, like I say, it's been like sleep type of astral projection and stuff like. Um, so when you're there, then it's like you're already involved in what you're doing and stuff like that kind of thing. Um, so I weren't really sense of fear and stuff like that weren't really there and stuff kind of thing. As like I'm outside of my body, oh my god, and all that kind of thing. It's more like when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my god, like wow, all this has happened and kind of thing.
Right.
Which is
So
almost like sense in it and stuff like. But also, uh, felt like I nearly came out of my body in 2014. I was telling you about it, and it just
mhm.
felt like a bit of a shock to me at that point. And I thought, oh no, no, you know what I mean? Because it's like I'm coming out, but I didn't really, I was just trying to think about it, not actually do it, kind of thing. Like, and it really felt like I was doing it. So I suppose it's that side of it, isn't there? I don't know. I think just keep going along and making sure you get rid of that fear and stuff. Because that's when things can attach, can't they? So you have to feel comfortable when you're doing it.
So I have a question. Is lucid dreaming the same as astral traveling?
I don't know if I would say it was, because I think, and this is just my from experience, and I can't find this recipe. It's driving me crazy. I'm so sorry. Um, I think lucid dreaming is, I'd have to look it up, but my opinion is that you can make things kind of happen in your dream by past experience and your mental state then. I think that astral traveling is more real than a dream. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I kind of think the dreams, lucid dreaming, it can't be
It's
astral travel if it's a dream because
it's a
you're
dream.
having,
You're
yeah,
making
yeah.
it up as you go along,
Right.
sort of, versus seeing a different reality, I think.
I agree with
And
that too, but someone asked me, so I figured we'd hit on it.
Yeah, that's cool. So Lev, back to did you do you agree with what I was watching last night, that he said projection and travel are two different things?
yeah, yeah, because that's like the difference between like I've been saying sleep mode of traveling and stuff like that, like I did a lot when I was younger, and
Right.
then the other time when I kind of felt like I was coming
And
out
then you
and
went
stuff.
out with the body too. So
That
okay. So I guess
yeah,
what about and I think this is what made me just not go over the edge last night and do it, was so because I really want, I think when I did it, I want to feel like my body was with me because I was running. And I wasn't, I don't know that it was more floating than I could feel me running. You know what I mean? Like feet hitting the ground, running back home from where I projected to. So I guess instead of travel, the first time I think I projected, the second time I went all the way to Washington State. So that had to have been a travel, right?
yeah.
Okay. Then I got this. I'm cool. I know exactly what the heck I'm going to do later. Anyway, what's next, Michael Lynn?
Hmm. I don't know.
um, I think sleep travel astral travel when you're sleeping is a lot easier and less cognitive dissonance because you wake up and then you remember it all and stuff like that. But to astral travel whilst you're awake, it's much more. I kind of think doing it whilst you're asleep, that's like your learning steps.
Yeah.
And once you can do that a lot and stuff like, then grasping the concept of leaving your body is going to be a lot easier afterwards. So it's one step at a time.
Right.
You can still go for it though, like in daytime when you're awake and stuff like. There's no wrong with trying, and I think that'll help you do your sleep travel as well. Like even if you don't manage to leave your body in daytime, and when you go to sleep and stuff like, you might automatically come out anyway.
Right.
But it's practice with everything, like using your crystals and everything else like that. The more you attune, the more likely you'll just naturally come out of your body when you're asleep and daytime, I suppose.
He said, I suppose.
Like you can your astral body or your higher conscience being busy whilst you're doing things sometimes and stuff like that when I were more connected and stuff.
I think that's what it was then last night for me was I was going to attempt something consciously then and that's when the fear came in was me trying to take the body with me and go. I think that might be what it was. Or I've been surrounded by negative for a couple of weeks and I wasn't sure of the cleansing and clearing and so anyway, again,
That'll definitely affect things.
Yeah, I think so too.
Very
that
much.
makes perfect sense to me. So that's what I'm going with. There's my answer.
So, let me ask you what you think this means. The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding.
I know what that's from.
Falling on deaf ears, isn't it? Like when you're trying to speak truth, but no one listens.
I think it kind of has to do with that. What we've talked about is the open mind. And now that goes into a whole lot of stuff for me. An open mind is the third eye, there's so much. And I know you guys have a whole lot to say about it. And that's what I think that means is that you can talk all you want, but they're not going to listen until they get that open, until it gets.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. I know because you asked Michael. I have read her family's cards for decades, and they don't listen ever, never ever. Just saying. She does now, but her daughters don't. So there. Anyway, that's what I think it means. What do you think, Michael? Are you what do you think that is talking about?
Well, I agree with what you said. You can't speak wisdom if you're not listening and understanding. You have to be open-minded, and I agree that is trying to awaken all of your senses. And if you can get a grasp on all of your senses, then you can truly understand what you're being told, by your higher self, which I believe is all stored in our DNA. I mean, so we have the DNA of all of our ancestors as well, if we know how to hear it,
Right. Sorry, I'm looking up this recipe now because I've looked for this whole time for this recipe and I can't find it in my kitchen. I think somebody stole it. Why it's still my sugar cookie recipe is beyond me. It's not that good, but anyway.
Oh, the sugar cookies? Yeah, that was me. No, I'm just kidding.
No, the Loft House cookies. I can't find my recipe. Anyway, so another thing is, I guess I have a question for that and see if what you guys think. So do you continue to talk or do you give up? Do you wait for someone to come back to you or come to you? Or do you continue walking around like a crazy person? So, when do you just kind of stop trying to teach or whatever? What do you think?
Well, you can only teach to those that want to learn.
Right, but if
You
you're not
know?
speaking, then how do you
Well,
know when there's
if you've
someone?
already, okay, well, then that would depend on if you've already spoke and you were, ignored, or have you not spoken yet?
So we just keep talking until somebody listens.
Yeah.
Basically, just go to different people because somebody's going to get it and somebody's going to listen.
Right. See, and I figure my thing is to talk to people who want to hear it. So that's my problem.
Exactly.
I've tried to teach people things, as you well know, that they just
Some people are so asleep, they can't grasp most of the things that come out of awake people's mouths, like at all.
right,
They don't want to hear it. They love the way things are. They are weighed down by, brainwashing and
right.
negative energy, and they're not going to understand no matter which way you say it.
So we keep talking.
You got to keep talking.
All
You
right.
just got to find somebody who's listening. You
Lev,
don't want to waste your energy. If you're just talking to a brick wall, what is that accomplishing?
right.
You know,
Well, I know, but we got to keep talking because one time, what if it cracks? What if that brick wall sees
exactly.
something?
I always think that you have to find what it is that each individual relates to. Once they can relate to what you're saying in a way that they understand, they will get it if they want to get it.
Right.
There are people that do not want to get it, and they're never going to get it.
Agreed.
Stuck on stupid. That's what I call it.
So, Lev, what do you do? Do you continue to talk or do you wait for people to come to you and ask questions? Or do you just put it out there
I,
all the time?
I've I've tried to talk to people in the past and stuff kind of thing, especially with flat Earth because that gets people to question reality itself. So
Right.
that's always been a good one. Like, but I always lead towards spiritualism and stuff. But I used to work at Royal Mail to get loads of different people working all the time and stuff. So I used to ask everybody all their different opinions and try and push mine on them and see what they think of that and stuff like that. Um, and it was few and far between when people kind of listened and stuff like. Um, a lot of them found it quite funny, especially the flat Earth stuff, which were a good laugh. I enjoyed it at work and stuff. But like you say, it seems to fall on deaf ears, and they don't tend to research for themselves. The odd one, what I mean, they will do. Um, so that's when I kind of felt when it first came out, I kind of felt that I did the just myself on YouTube because there were so many good videos out there and stuff like it more about spreading the word and stuff like and I kind of felt like word of mouth was one of the best ways to spread it. So um, I don't know, eventually there's enough people that I've spoke to and I'll end up speaking to the same people and if you do that it just makes them more repulsed to the idea of whatever you're trying to push onto them and stuff like. Nobody likes anything to be pushed onto them either, do they? So
Right. They just
uh,
got to make a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
with YouTube, people type in and search for what they want to watch. So I kind of think this is probably the best place to do it, really.
Right. See, and I think
So
I've always just kind of gone along um, because I don't like with my reading of my cards. I had a question one time that so I mean, and a lot of people don't. I mean, Michael knows the story of when I started cards and this, that, the other. So I was 16, and the lady told me that I had um, a gift to give, and that was that. And she taught me, and that's how I take it. Is that it is a gift that I give away because it's not my life, it's not my thing, it's yours. So have it back. It's kind of how I think about it. Um, so it, one time, years and years and years into me reading cards and every single time for a long time, people were like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, and they'd leave. Come to find out now, people are saying, okay, so I have this girl who's dating my son, and she works in this place, and this other chick came up and or messaged her on Facebook and said, how do you know that lady? And Corey's like, well, how do you know that lady? And she said she read my cards and told me I was having a boy, and I did. So little things like that are happening now, 30 years later. But at the time, people were like, nope, that's not me. That's not happening. It's not true, blah, 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 you know. And every time it's like so frustrating because I'm like, why didn't you listen then? How much did you miss by not listening then? You know, anyway, I forgot where I was going with it because, again, ADHD happens. Um, but
Life
yeah,
changes.
it does. And people just, I think denial is a huge part, you know. And oh, I remember. So I had this one lady tell me, how did you, how did you not read this person's demise? I had two people very, 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 very close to me pass away. And one of them, I never read his cards. He wasn't into it. I mean, I think he was, but just secretly. And the other one was into it all day, every day. All I did was read her cards. And the cards did show hearts, but they showed, it was a whole thing going on. I just didn't see the death. Um, and this person says to me at one of their funerals, how come you didn't read this? And that devastated me. You know, that hit me in a place that I'm like, shit, I don't, you know what I mean? It made me self doubt. And I think I quit reading for a long, long time because of self doubt. And I think Michael, she knows how that shit works. You just get kind of pummeled with self doubt, and it
What's
just,
crazy is those same two people, I saw it in their eyes.
yeah. Well, no, I know, and I read babies, and Michael
And
sees the end, and she and
yeah,
I, you know, we have matching tattoos that match Lev's little thing there.
yeah.
There. So anyway, yeah, it's just, it's crazy, but like I said, with self doubt, I think that stops a lot of people's progress into whatever they're doing, whether it's to
Hmm.
open their minds, to open their ears, to open their eyes, whatever it is to open. Self doubt is huge, I think, in stopping that from happening. And I think there's people out there that like to keep us, like Michael said, they're comfortable being stupid or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
maybe they're intelligent, they're just not. But I think they like us to be that way, and so they plant those seeds of self doubt, and it makes us question and not move forward because we're seeing that we might be
Well,
wrong.
misery loves company.
Oh, I hate that shit.
I know. It's true.
I know. I got to go back to
So,
my recipe. I forgot what it was. Hold on. So, Lev, what do you think about that? The self doubt being something that stops your progress, or the plants that are there to make us doubt ourselves?
Yeah, it's the biggest personal hindrance, isn't it? You've got to have that self belief. Um, it's like I don't know, like you look at art and kung fu and stuff like that kind of thing,
Mhm.
all different forms of expression and stuff. Like if you ain't got that confidence behind it, you don't achieve much, do you? You know what I mean? It's kind of like um, you've got to believe in kung fu for it to work. Um, I mean, it's geometry and stuff like that kind of thing, and how things connect in lines going crossing each other. Like, but it's that doubt which changes everything. But you know, I mean, it tends to, that's where it's not going to work and stuff. Like you've got to have a right intention for things. That's where the, like chi and moving chi and stuff like that kind of thing. Like you've got to have the intention for it and stuff. So so you've got mind, body, and spirit, haven't you? You've got oh, uh, your body. Well, your spirit is like knowledge and understanding of things and stuff like that. The feeling and stuff, and the mind is like the intention, and then the body is like the action side of things. So you got the mind, body, and spirit there, kind of thing. So if you haven't got the intention, then the action's not going to come through. But you've got to have the spirit for it too. So it's having them all combined together to make the best of things and stuff like. So if you're painting a picture, you've got to be in the right mood and the right focus and stuff like that. You can't be like painting a picture if you've got a bad mood kind of thing. You know what I mean? You're irritated and stuff like that kind of thing. Then the lines aren't going to flow right and stuff like. It's going to come through your wrists kind of thing when you're painting. So when you're talking to someone, you can feel that vibration too, can't you? You know what I mean? It affects everything that you do in the day, how you're feeling and stuff like. So self-doubt is something that the government push on people. I remember being at school and stuff like that, and you had to choose your options and stuff. And I questioned science, but I got told that you have to be really intelligent to be a scientist.
Mhm.
And that's now looking back, I realize that I have been intelligent over my life and stuff kind of thing. And if I had that self belief back then, I could have become a scientist and I could have become one of the maybe one of the top scientists or something. I believe that everybody has that same ability to become anything they want to be in that way. But it's having that self doubt pushed on us, and it can come from like social groups, like at school and stuff like that kind of thing. People talk down to someone, then they lose confidence that way and stuff like. Which is quite a strong time to do it because when you're at school, your emotions are changing and stuff like that kind of thing, and your ego's a big thing, pride's a big thing, and you don't really know how to handle them properly. And it's a shame they don't really teach you much about it either. So yeah, it does apply to a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. The bullying definitely
Yeah.
destroys some children, and they do lose all their confidence. They lose it all. And, what do they do? Because nowadays it seems like the teachers don't even really stop it. They don't care if one child is lacking behind and what's the reason for this.
It's like when we say about words being spelled, and I kind of feel like when people talk down to someone, they give everybody else the impression that that's okay, and they also affirm it for that individual as well, that that's okay to be spoken down to. So that's the way that kind of spell works with words. I feel, people control the narrative in that kind of way. I suppose they don't really realize they're doing it, but well, to a certain degree, not in that level, but they kind of do know they're doing it, like, don't they? But I just used to talk about words being like it's a vibration, isn't it? And just a different vibration each and stuff like that, and you can direct it to a specific person, despite the fact that other people can hear the vibration and stuff. I mean, it's all with body language and stuff like that kind of thing, but it's just a noise, isn't it? It's only a vibration kind of thing, and we can send it across distance and stuff like that. It's almost like seeing it as psychic power, but we've always seen it as a left brain thing.
Right. I agree that the words are that vibration because it's easier to spread that because people, I don't know, it's almost like it hits their ears and they're able to manipulate the word more than they are anything else. Like that one I don't know, that's a big subject in its own, is vocal vibration.
Yeah, for sure. That's very
Right.
important though, because you know how if you use the wrong tone with someone,
Right.
it they shut down.
Yep.
You know, and they can feel it. They can feel your anger, your sadness. You know,
Hmm. Well,
when
it's
you
just like
talk.
when you talk to a dog. If you can say, which my ex-husband did this, it was the dumbest thing. You could say the same words in a tone of voice to a dog, and
Hmm.
they think you're like, if you
Yeah,
say it in a mean way, but you're saying good dog, then they're hearing the scolds. They're not hearing the word. you know,
Exactly. And if you
that's
just call them, "Hey, you silly little stupid ass dog," they in
right.
that tone, they
Yeah, they're
love you.
hearing
They're
the
like
tone,
licking all over
right?
you and climbing in your
It's
lap.
the tone versus the word itself. So that's crazy. That's crazy. We as humans are a little bit different than that, but it's still kind of that concept, you know. All right, I'm super pissed I can't find this, and I just tried to do a copycat recipe, and I screwed up, and I wasted 2 3/4 cups of flour. So pissed. Just sorry. That's where I'm at right now. So I can't do this and bake, which I thought I could, and I can't.
I was gonna say that, but you wouldn't have listened, so
I wouldn't, you know how that is.
I thought maybe the viewers would enjoy watching you bake cookies anyway. So it was
I
fine.
can't find the recipe, and it's pissing me off. Somebody took it.
Um,
Maybe I loaned it to somebody. I don't know.
so I have another question, just kind of shifting a bit, but still. So, in all ancient texts, it says how long people lived, right? Adam
Okay.
lived like 960 some years, and Enoch was like 300 and some hundred years, and they all lived. And Thoth, this Hermes, he lived over 300 years also.
Right.
Why do you think that everything got smaller and, um, you know, our lives are so very short compared to what they used to be?
Ugh,
Um,
lots.
I mean, literal dark age, aren't we? And maybe because there's a lot of suffering in the world, or there has been over these years and stuff, kind of thing. Maybe that has to do it, that they don't make your spirit go through it for that longer period of time. Also, you've got the maybe some more modern day where they started to use fluoride and chemtrails and all that kind of stuff like. Uh,
Food. The food was natural. Okay. The food. Start there.
but it's like we lost his way in past as well. You know what I mean? It's like all the herbs and things like that kind of thing, and what we must have known in past to have got to a certain level. You know what I mean? To carry us through. Um, I mean, it's like during Egyptian times and stuff like that. That looks like they had the long life and all those kind of things, like the mentioning religious texts and stuff. Of living to a long age and stuff like. But um, so then something happened, and then we've been in a dark age. We've lost this way, uh, and we've had to figure things out as we've got along. I don't know. It's it's difficult to think exactly how it's gone wrong and stuff like that. But because you've had like herbalists and a lot of spiritual people over years and stuff like. You've got the Shaolin Temple and all the different religions and stuff kind of thing, which helps carry people through in that kind of way. Um, so I don't know.
So, in a way, you kind of think that, okay, so if we were living longer before and we are indeed reincarnated over and over, we don't need to be here as long.
Yeah, maybe we're learning quicker. Is that what?
Or we're storing everything we've already learned. We
Right.
just might not recall it completely, right, in our conscience, but I mean, it's our DNA, our
Right.
DNA, and we have all of the ancestral knowledge wrapped into that somewhere too. Our DNA is very, very complex,
Right.
you know. But what about the pineal gland?
Mm.
Like, the more they poison us, it seems like the shorter our lives get. Do you think that could be related in any way? I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not saying it is, but do you think it could be?
I'm saying it
Shrink
is.
the shrink the pineal gland and you shorten the life.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've
I
done
mean, I've thought that too, but there's really no way to prove it except for the fact that we're all kind of stupid these days and we don't live very long at all.
Right.
Like, we've got people that are dying in their 20s and 30s of, problems and issues.
Yep.
In
I need
Okinawa,
a coffee, so I'm going to hop off for 1 second, mute, and I'll be right back. I need a fresh cup of coffee.
in Okinawa, they have the longest life expectancy over there. People generally tend to get over the age of 100 and stuff like. Easy lifestyle and good food is their kind of key to it all. I think it's all fresh food, organic type of stuff and that.
I think it's a lot of what we practice. I mean, food is where it begins because there's just so much genetically modified and so much going into it that to make it bigger, make it more, make it this, make it that. Well, it's taking away nutrients that our bodies have to do the things we have to do. But then you also look at cars, transportation. That's a huge problem. Back in the day, you didn't do if you weren't walking it or riding a horse or whatever, you weren't going. So that's I think a lot of it is physical and like you were saying, the three levels, with the spiritual, the physical, and the mental. That's where you begin to heal. I think about it all the time. If I wasn't having to drive this car to work versus, you know what I mean? So I think that we've become lazier. We've become more
dependent.
Yeah, and unable to do for ourselves. But look, like you said, in Okinawa, and I was looking into Tai Chi, which I absolutely love, by the way. And again, my life started going crazy. But I'm getting back into all of it. I don't care. But I love the Tai Chi, how it just is such a really cool. I use it to cleanse and to strengthen inside, and that was just I think a lot of people are missing that. You don't know how many times I hear people say, "Hey, can you help me with this? I can't," and it's stuff that I'm like, my 70-year-old mother can do it and do more of it than I just don't understand. I got these 20, 30 somethings that I can't lose weight. I can't lift that. I can't work there. I can't do that. It's like, damn, you guys would have, and I tell them this all the time, you guys would have never survived. Ever. You'd have been the weak one in the pack and somebody would have killed you. That's just how it is. But I think it has to do with the strength, food intake. So physical is huge about it. Mental, I think, is huge. And spiritually it is too, because people, again, it leads down to that laziness, I think.
I think we're coming out of that dark age as well.
I
like
agree.
A lot of people are talking about the ascension and stuff, and I believe this as well with what came through with light work and stuff like. And a lot of the research is it's like a lot of people talking about like going into a 5D reality or 4D, whichever it is. And being, I don't know, they use the term crystalline beings or whatever and stuff like. But in one sense, because I've heard someone else, Dolores Cannon, like talking about how when we go through this age and stuff like that, we'll no longer need food and stuff like. We'll start being like liquid based, and even that might end up coming to an end. I don't know. Whereas we've been much more feeding off a source off as through his light body and stuff like that. So, like when you say, is your pineal gland going to affect your health, your longevity and stuff like? According to a lot of spiritual people and stuff like that.
Right.
But you never know, do you? I mean,
one of these days we'll figure it. We'll know one of these days.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with the younger generations either. I kind of came back on halfway through that, but they don't want to do anything. They want everything handed to them, and they don't want to do anything to be a part of the bigger team. You know what I mean? I don't know what's wrong with them other than the fact that they're poison in every direction that they turn.
Right. That's exactly it. That it started a long, long time ago, and power is the whole reason behind it. You know, who's got the most power is going to have the most everything. Which, you know, I'm a different. I like to live happy. You know, Michael knows my old man. He just does not understand, and he's fighting me right now because we're having this debate over whether to take our own bags to the grocery store. And he won't do it. Even when I take him, he won't even hand them to the cashier. And I tell him all the time that he's gonna be the reason that the downfall of everything because he won't use, you know, he won't use reusable bags. Anyway, sorry. But he's that 30 something that just is not, he's not thinking of the bigger picture, whether it be little stuff like that uh, or our own human race. You know, things like this. He lets me do them. He's been with me long enough to know that I'm not crazy and that sometimes I do speak the truth. He just isn't a quick one to grasp on. Michael knows him. So anyway, is there a way to that we can? I mean, we can fix our own by doing things differently to our own children and the people around us, you know, and then that leads us back to, are they listening when we speak, you know, and do we keep speaking? So I think the answer to that is absolutely we keep talking because somebody somewhere is going to say that that's the truth and we're going to be able to move it forward, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Stuff.
So we keep talking.
Vaccines might make a difference to them and stuff like how the I don't know. And also like I see a lot of kids playing on iPads and all those kind of things and stuff like, you know, from quite an early age and stuff like, um, which that must make an effect as well. Uh, because like, you know, like when you're watching TV and stuff like that, it's putting your third eye into trance, you know, almost in a meditative state, but it's running the show as a TV because you're listening to that rather than listening to your conscience.
Right.
So uh, so when you're stuck on iPads playing games or whatever and stuff like that, you're still in that frequency. You know what I mean? You're in the world of the game or whatever you're watching and stuff like, which is controlling the show in that kind of sense. And people get addicted to that and they don't want to leave it. So they prefer that to the real world and stuff like that kind of thing. And from an early age, you know, they'd have difficulties with that in the future. You know, I don't know, like you know, like people were gambling and stuff like. I saw a documentary on it, and it said like how the brain works and stuff, and it says like that thought process, it kind of forms like a river towards where it wants to go. So if that person wants to keep gambling, and the idea where it originates in his mind, it's got a well formed river going through towards where that thought ends up, and it always ends up at the decision of yes, I'm going to go gambling. You know, what I mean, the decision to not go gambling, there's not even a river going that way. You know, what I mean. um, So it's easier for the thought process to go in the same direction of what you usually do. Um,
That's pretty cool that you said that because it made me think of quitting. Oh my gosh, hold on. Quitting the things that I've quit recently. Like you said gambling, so that struck me as something. So I just, and people are like, how'd you quit smoking? How'd you do it? How'd you do it? I honestly think I changed, and I tell them all the time, I just changed my mind. And what it was the frequency. I moved out of that mindset that you're talking about by changing my mind. That's what I did. That's how I quit drinking. That's how I quit smoking. That's how I.
so it's needing a fresh perspective into it. So it's like if you're stuck in the same, to find something else to occupy your mind and something which is going to fulfill you as well, kind of thing. Which is kind of difficult when you're used to something.
Right. Especially smoking. That was the tough one, you know. And what I did was I just pushed one back farther and farther each day. So, like, instead of waking up and smoking, I woke up and did other things. So, again, it was a change in the mind. Was it a change in the frequency of the way that I was, where I was going with it? You know what I mean? So, it was a conscious change in what I did, what I thought, everything, you know. And I think that goes with a lot of stuff. Like, you could do anything with that, anything.
So also thinking about that and the fact that you just asked, you know, when you're talking to your family and this and that, and you're like, are they even listening? So, hello?
Hello.
Oh, okay. um, so you were asking, are they even listening? So if you would have known that all you had to do was change your mind, you know, a long time ago, would you have continued to smoke or drink? So thinking of it that way, maybe they just don't understand because they're not at a vibratory rate to get it.
Right.
Maybe
Maybe
they
they're
are
not.
listening, but they just don't understand.
Right.
So you feel like you're just repeating, but they just can't get it yet. It's not the time for whatever reason. It could be their own personal things that they're here to do for themselves. They're
Right.
hired, you know, they have to do
White book, white book. Sorry.
them.
But yeah, that, or they, like in the case of my kids, you know them, so look at them. You know, my oldest one, who's been here longer, was vaccinated, and all of this stuff that was done, um, is the hard-headed, making bad decisions kind of guy. And back to the DNA, I 100% believe that the DNA that he has comes from, you know, where it comes from. So that's a whole nother fight and conversation. But then you look at my middle one, who's not even, 22 months, or not even 2 years apart, and he has some of the same ideas as far as get rich quick schemes and do as little for as much, but he does it differently and is more open to different ideas. But again, they were raised in the same atmosphere and the same everything. Um, and then there's that third one who didn't, she barely got vaccinated. She barely got anything. And that child is 100% on board with whatever the hell's going on and will be loud about it. So but they were raised all in the same place by the same person with the same views. They're just so different, you know? Is it,
Yeah.
is it because of outside influence, inside influence, a little bit of both, probably?
Well, probably both. Yeah. Yeah.
So how do I get the older one to clear up? I know you're working on that too, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes,
I
yes,
don't
well.
have I don't have an answer for that. I just keep trying to say the same things that we keep talking about for years, and
Right,
especially that we've gotten older and wiser and learn more things, you
right,
know. Knowledge is power, and also learning that this whole world is vibration. It is vibration, and it affects it in every way, shape, and form. Until you can actually hear that and understand it and use it in your daily life, I don't know if we can change. You can't change somebody who, one, doesn't want to change, and two, doesn't even understand how to change.
Um, it depends what they're refusing to listen to. If you're talking about government and what our life should be and stuff like that kind of thing, a lot of people don't want to listen. If you try to talk about religion, people don't want to listen. But spirituality, I don't know, that sometimes can be a little bit easier.
What about common sense?
right.
Because that's kind of what I'm fighting with my oldest daughter. I mean, I love her, don't get me wrong, but common fucking sense. It's
It eludes her. It absolutely escapes her.
It's what they want in lives as well, and it's that thing that they want in life mainly, kind of thing that the to be with the mates and all that kind of thing. I don't know what it is, kind of thing like, but it's that internal battle they've got with themselves, kind of doing the right thing with everything. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what the story is.
I'm not going to talk about it on here, but it's common sense. Just, and she was vaccinated, so and she does have that hard-headed, or it could be an Aquarius thing.
Wait, she has. I've met her father. DNA.
Yeah, DNA.
Yep, that's a huge one. She's got a lot of mix up in there going on. I've met her father.
Yeah. The DNA is huge. I'm sure it is.
It is.
We hold, generations worth of traits.
Information.
Yes, information in our bodies. And I'm sure that lots of them contrast, go against, look at me and my girl's father. We are as opposite could get. He wanted to scream and yell and play death metal, and I wanted to run around, hug trees, and put flowers in my hair.
And we did that. That's what we did.
While I was barefooted, and he had steel-toed boots. It was the complete opposites.
And there's a child out of this.
There's two children. Yeah, so that also makes you think about back in the day how they kind of arranged marriages. I'm not saying that that's the way that we should ever go back to, because everyone has their free will, but I'm sure they looked into DNA and the bloodlines to make it a match so the kids weren't fucking retarded. I mean, not in a mean sense, but like senseless. They don't, if you're not mixing your DNA and your blood properly, and I really came to light recently when my daughter had this baby and the blood was different. One was positive and hers is negative. And, we were looking at losing them both for this fact that these bloods weren't mixing. And well, the problem was they mixed, and it made her very, very, very sick. And the
they weren't
baby,
supposed to mix.
Right. You can't put the positive with the negative when it comes to O negative. You can't do that because O negative is only allowed to have O negative blood. When you put a positive in there, you're introducing things that the blood can't handle. So anyway, the point is, it makes you think when you have two complete opposite people and they produce a child, are more children than just the ones we know kind of like that because of DNA, if you're talking about DNA,
Absolutely.
And that might be another thing wrong with a lot of the vibes and stuff. Not, and on top of man-made problems, which is the hugest factor.
Right.
But anyway.
My dogs are looking at me crazy. I've given up on cookies. I tried 2 different recipes, and I think David threw away my sour cream, so I'm not even baking them right now.
So I've been kind of reading this, and now I've been reading through the principles while we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
The principle of rhythm kind of is what we were just talking about. Everything flows in and out. Everything has tides. It all rises and falls. Everything swings, and it has to have rhythm.
Yeah.
So what do you think the biggest factor throwing the rhythms and all of that off in the world?
Just out of balance. Like,
so what do you think's putting it out of balance?
A lot of take and not a lot of give, maybe.
Yeah,
because
I could see that.
The give and take. But look at what's going on. I'm never going to have enough. I need more, more, more. And then
right.
Yeah, and there's not enough. Maybe, I don't know. Lev, I think he fell asleep, Michael.
I don't think.
I have coffee if he needs it.
No, I think it's because everything's like on the vibrational state and everything's energy and stuff like. So I think that conscious side of things has a lot to play on it, like the balance of the world and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, what the governments are doing and stuff like that with wars and chemtrails and etc. Like, I noticed a lot of it like through programming and TV and stuff like that kind of thing. Um, People relate it to their own lives, so then they use it in their own lives, and it affects like the psychology and stuff like that. So then, couples break up over the silly things, which they probably had a reference from TV or something like that. So all kind of affecting it all, and the frequency and vibration of where we live, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that too. I think it's a lot of the things that is going on.
Yeah. So with rhythm, how do we get the rhythm back in our lives? Because this seems to be going back to the very first talk we were having, and that's why I think the Kayballion was, you know what I mean? It was like the first thing that came to mind with that first question, was because it has a lot of good information in it about how do you fix the broken parts, which is what we were talking about. So rhythm, do we gain that rhythm in ourselves first, and that moves along, like we were talking about earlier, Michael, uh, to our direct surroundings, and then on and on and on. So we
Yes,
fix
I
the
think
rhythm
so.
in ourselves.
I think so. Yeah, I think that it has to start with us because how are you going to teach something that you can't master yourself?
Right.
You
So
know.
do you think that where are you on the level of getting your rhythm back? And because I feel like I had it and then lost it, and I've said that
Well,
over and over.
that's how I feel. I feel like I have good days and bad days. I mean, but again, another thing I took from the white book, it's how you react to it. So if
Right.
I'm having people cut me off all day and put, bump past me with their cart or whatever happens,
Right.
if I sit there and rant and scream and holler about it, then
Going to
my
continue.
vibe, yes, it's going to eat you and take you down. And, it is how you react. So you just got to keep being positive no matter what. Try to find the positive side of something, even though some days it's very, very hard. You have to
Right.
try.
So Lev,
Um,
are you balanced? Are you in rhythm? Do you feel like?
Uh, I got ill, something happened to me and stuff, and that really threw everything out of balance and stuff like.
Yeah.
In certain ways, it were more physical. But like beforehand, because I'd done my light at work when I was younger, and since then I'd always been drawing and trying to write and socializing. All my life was balanced because I'd be doing kung fu or martial arts and stuff kind of thing. Uh, and I seem to have find time for all of it because I work in college and everything and stuff like. Um, and then I remember a lot of people like said to me, "You're a police officer." And I don't know because of how I reacted towards things, and a lot of people said I should be a care worker, um, all sorts of things in that kind of uh, area. Uh, when that happened, like I say, it was massively physical and stuff kind of thing. Um, uh, but I kind of got around it quite easy, and I, I got back into my social life and stuff like that kind of thing. I was always quite happy, but then years later, well, like 9 years later, my memory came back, and once I figured everything out, that's when I don't know. That's when everything went out of balance. That's like my heart broke and all that kind of thing and stuff like that. And it's been a difficult path to try and shift that frequency which is put on me in that kind of way. Um, so it's kind of like I've done well. I have to be really thankful of like light work and stuff like that because it's if I'd not had it, I don't know. You know what I mean? My life would have been so much worse and stuff like, because it's led me to have these expectations and stuff kind of thing of, you know, belief, which I can't shift out of my mind and stuff about spirituality and what your path is and all those kind of things and stuff like. Um, so, you know, you question like the fate of things and stuff like that, rather than being super depressed about it and stuff like kind of thing. Um, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, where's my path taking me now, and you know, what's going to happen next in my life, and things and stuff like. But more with an optimistic kind of view to it, because anything can happen, can it? And like we said earlier, life changes, so you'd never know what perspective your mind's going to have and stuff like. Um, and sometimes things like that can really fight against your internal things and stuff kind of thing. Um, like your perspective and how you want to treat people and all those kind of things and stuff like. Um, I don't know. I can see how it affects people and stuff, but I suppose I've had that light work and that's kind of really helped me and stuff kind of thing like. Um, I don't know. I've focused into what I'm interested in. You know what I mean? So that's like part of like turning the page on things and stuff like that. If you keep turning a page, that page, which is so horrible, it ends up getting buried by other pages which you're getting on with and stuff like that. So you've always got to be growing, haven't you? You've always got to be moving like that. And work, because you end up getting back into who you are. Because I noticed that the person that was me had kind of like disappeared. It's like I don't know, my personal way of expressing myself is usually really vibrant and really happy, and I usually have a lot of funny things to say in between things and stuff like that. I mean, my vibrancy is coming back and stuff, but one day at a time, innit?
Mm-hmm. It is.
But I also, it's seeing that difference, that I can see that who I used to be compared to what it left me in, kind of thing. And then that part of me realizing that that part of me were missing, kind of thing, and trying to strive that back in a way, because I know it's still there, because there's moments when you've it's not in your mind, these bad things and stuff, thing, and you've completely forgotten about it, and you know you've forgotten where you are in a way, and then suddenly you're actually expressing yourself how you're done that true who you are and stuff like that, kind of thing, like. Um, so yeah, I'm getting there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah. I found like Wing Chun, like you were saying about Tai Chi, Wing Chun is really similar because it's internal and stuff like that. And when you're practicing that, it really does align your chakras and stuff, kind of thing.
So look that one up.
It's really cleansing and all that kind of thing and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff works. Um, you know, drawing and all those kind of things, and developing focus, getting in touch with your spiritual side, all that kind of stuff. It's all to do with um, building yourself up of who you are, and I think your spiritual thing is the best thing, because I gets in touch with what your purpose of life is and stuff like. Um, I've always felt like teaching light work is a big thing, kind of thing. Like eventually, I realised that a big period in my life I wouldn't be teaching it. I think primarily because people wouldn't listen. I don't think anybody would have had time to listen to spiritual stories like that, kind of thing, back then and stuff like that. But now, you know, I mean, it has become part of my path as well. So um, yeah, it's interesting as life. So, you know, I mean, you've got to always have that perspective on things and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we did touch on the Kayballion. So now,
Well, yeah,
your
we did.
title's not fibbing.
No, it didn't fit. Thank goodness. So,
All right, and
and
what principle was that? 3, 4?
that one was, I forgot.
I don't know either.
Because I switched the page already. I'm sorry.
That's
But
okay.
anybody can, look it up. It's the Kayballion, and you can find it in sacredtext.com, or you can go to Amazon, I'm sure, and buy a copy.
You can.
You know,
That's where Kyle
but
got his.
but you know, and what I'm reading is a lot of kind of what I've been learning and stuff over the last year. It is a lot about alchemy,
It
but it's
is.
also relating it to
Mentally.
us.
Yep.
So what it is we were made in their image. So we work like, you know, like our world.
Oh
We
my
do.
God, I found it. Look, like I
Your
found it. I'm so excited. I found
your
my book.
recipe.
No, the Kayballion.
Oh,
I've been looking for everything for days. You guys got me all over the place. Look, I found it. Check it out.
there we
I
go.
have it. Oh, that makes my heart happy. I'm so excited now. Okay.
So
And
yeah,
no,
what
to
we
hell
were.
with the recipe. I quit that.
But what we were, you know, talking about is they refer to it as transmutation.
Yep.
And basically, you can change anything from one nature to the next through,
Absolutely.
if you're talking about elements or you're talking about your own vibration, you can change it at any point. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, I've just had such a bad day, so I'm going to just make sure the rest of the day sucks.
Right.
No, no, you
Nope.
don't have to do that. You can say, okay, that moment really sucked, but I'm going to go out and do something really nice for someone and try to change the vibe myself. Or even just go out by yourself and just take a big, deep breath and be like, okay, start over.
Ground and
And
center. Ground
exactly,
and center.
exactly. Ah,
Yep.
thank you, Lev. He put the link in the back in the chat for me.
Yay. I haven't seen the chat yet, but yeah. So just so that if anybody's watching, or if they've got the 7 hermetic principles in here: mentalism,
Yes.
correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and the principle of gender. So and I start books from the beginning and go through them like workbooks almost. Usually, sometimes I start from the back. It just depends. I have
So that
actually,
one was rhythm. Sorry. When you
yes.
asked what it was, we were on rhythm at that point.
Yeah, it was 5. Yeah. Um, and I don't know. I thought Lev was talking about the all when we were talking about, has, did you say the all at any point in this? I don't know if it was you or Tyler, because I listen to Tyler talk a lot.
We are. I'm not sure.
Okay, probably Tyler. But it's got the universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. That was the mental universe, is chapter 5 in that book. There's just, and like you said, mental transmutation. Um, it's really kind of, this book is really cool. Whether you take anything from it or not, it's still a cool kind of read. It kind of brings you
Well,
back to all that stuff we were talking about. Where the problems began. Let's get back to reading instead of everything else.
yep. I see both sides as I'm kind of reading through it. I see this, like I said, the stuff I've been learning for the last year, and I can see how it works like us.
Right.
Um, you know, because the Egyptians, they knew, you know, a lot of, they knew so much about alchemy, and they also depicted in many, many of their glyphs how it worked in our world. You know, but then I read something like this and I see that I don't know if it was them that wrote this originally or if someone has changed it into the mental and about us. But either way, I can see both sides of it. You
Right.
know, it's a very interesting text. So,
Yes. Yes, it is.
and as I look at the pictures, I can also, again, see the stuff that a lot of these glyphs have depicted as above, so below.
Yep.
You know, being that there is a physical model or something
Well,
in
the
the
Kayballion.
underworld that is connected to the above, is
Yeah.
as above, so below.
Well, the Kayballion goes farther to say as below, so above. So it goes
Yes.
all the way around it, and it even
Hmm.
says in the book somewhere, it'll tell you that we somewhere along the lines we dropped that last part, which is true, because look at all the books we've read that only says the beginning. It doesn't, just like we were talking earlier, how generations of things like I said, with the cars and just making things go faster. We've also changed a lot of stuff in text and in teaching that probably needed to be there. And we've done that as a human race. We've just cut shit out that we thought, yeah, that one doesn't matter. It's like a recipe. Like, I can't go on because I don't have enough sour cream. It's not gonna happen. I can't do it. So
Yeah. Everybody
anyway,
wants to speed things up, make it shorter,
make
and
it
then in
shorter,
the
get it to the point.
turn we lose
Yeah.
knowledge,
Yes.
you know?
Yes, absolutely. Or even the ability to interpret, because you can't interpret if it's down to a one word thing that came from, you know, 30 words. You can't get the effect in one word.
I
That you
understand that more than you could ever know. Believe me, because it takes knowing the whole story before you can decipher what it is that they were trying to tell you.
right.
We have all of this knowledge in all these different places all over the world,
Right.
and we have no idea until we really start studying it what the hell they were talking about.
Right. Exactly.
You
Well,
know?
that's what it is. People just cut shit short. The
Yep.
site, they decided on their own what
Or just make up some stuff. Like if you
right.
go reading through a dictionary, there is some words that have there's like 15 different definitions for one word, and on the first one it means this, and by the time you get to the end it's the complete opposite.
Of what the first one was.
So it's like, oh, take your pick. What
Right.
do you want it to mean today?
Well,
And
you know that that's a
that's
lot
not
how the Bible is. Like, because I give you the Catholic Bible. It's got the 7 more books
Yes.
in it. Yeah,
Yep.
so it's all an
We've been
interpretation.
decoding the Bibles.
Right.
Yes.
And interpreting is a huge thing with religion. And again, I have to say, I don't believe that spirituality and religion are the same thing at all.
No.
Um,
No, because religion is telling you something completely different than what
well,
your
obviously,
spirituality.
well, they interpret. It's just how you interpret. I've sat in a lot of churches. I've gone, and they just interpret things differently. And it's not wrong. It's whatever they want to interpret. I can't say they're wrong because I don't know at the end. I mean, I probably do know, but I haven't remembered yet. So I don't know.
Oh, you lagged. Oh, okay. But yeah, it is. But then again, that takes you down to, you know, I guess belief, faith,
Yeah.
which I believe is spirituality, not religion, because most religious people are
God,
kind
they're
of messed
kind of
up.
horrible.
They're really horrible. Like they
Yeah.
really are. When people are in,
Hypocritic
and
asses.
I'm not knocking them, so because
Me
we're
either.
on
Not
YouTube and
me.
people will get very upset, but
Do what you do,
the,
be who you are. I don't care. It's
yeah,
not my business.
the organized
Right.
the organized religions really um, don't do well for some people.
Right.
They
And
really mess.
others just do it for their life, and if they do it, like, I mean, look at my grandmother. She's 100% very organized religion because that was where she was, and she passed away a very fulfilled woman as far as we know. I didn't see her kicking and screaming at the end at all.
Right.
Ready to go where she thought she was going and where she
But
believed
again,
and knew.
she loved that organized
She
religion,
did.
but it was not that did it. It was
Her
her.
belief.
It was
Yeah.
inside of her
Right.
and her vibration and the fact that she had accomplished exactly what she
Everything.
wanted to
Right.
do.
With
Exactly. So she lived a full life
yeah.
and
And
did what she wanted to do with herself.
yeah. And however that
And
came about is whatever. But she did it. So
yeah. Well, however it came about, those are her experiences,
right.
you know. So um okay, anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap it up cuz we're running over an hour. You know I
Nope,
like
I
to
gotta
keep.
go. I gotta go get sour cream. Damn it.
Okay. Anything for you, Lev? You want to add to all that? Whoops, just lost my bud.
I suppose the religion, like it's been we've been going through this dark age for a long time and stuff like that. I suppose people have followed all these different religions and stuff, and I can't imagine uh, anything bad happening to them pod doing that. You know what I mean? Um, like if someone's decided to follow Jesus or Krishna, it might give them that spiritual path, or I don't know. It's an attack to spirituality at least. Um, but like I've said, we light work. I want to teach it like unbiased. It's not really doesn't really matter what religion you are, as long as you're stepping into spirituality, seeking that truth and being sincere with yourself whilst doing it, then that's connecting to conscience, and regardless
Yeah,
of religion. So
absolutely. I
I
agree
agree.
with that.
Yep. All right. So more on the Kayballion later. Now that I got it in my hand and I can read it.
Yes, if you do your homework this time, we'll
I
go
got it.
again.
This time. Okay.
And we'll touch on it more next time.
All right.
So say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, guys. I'm going to the
And,
grocery store to get sour cream. Okay.
and thank you for coming, everyone.
nice one. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.